That work? There it is. I rebooted my computer. And of course, it just deletes the microphone every single time I do that. What was I talking about? I don't remember what I said. Welcome to Houston We Have a Problem. We are waiting patiently in anticipation to find out what the stalking horse bid is. I'm sure, it's due by now, a minute ago. It's probably filed sometime today. I have no idea when it gets released, but the information has to get released at least to the other potential bidders because they have until the 7th. What's that? Next Wednesday? They have until the next Wednesday to submit their bid, and their bid has to be higher than the stalking horse bid. So we're going to have to find out what those numbers are. Is it going to be higher than that? Is stock price going to reflect whatever the bid is? Some weird things happened yesterday. Someone sold $5.8 billion in Apple stock and in a single go right before close. Now, put on your tinfoil hat. Ryan Cohen is the single largest shareholder, independent shareholder of Apple. So, say that what you will. Granted, if you got $5.8 billion in Apple stock, you can just get a $5.8 billion margin and do something with that rather than sell everything. But anyway, so delicious. I've got a fantastic shirt birthday from the birthday wardrobe that Michael Mystery sent me. And so, look at this. Just, it's fantastic. I love me some paisleys, especially some cartoonish paisleys. So, yeah. Okay. Off. Everything's off. I want to thank everybody again for Charity Tuesday. We raised $1,500 about for World Central Kitchen, which means in the 2 shows we've done, we've raised over $3,000. Maybe it's almost $2,000 the last time. So we've raised over $3,000 for World Central Kitchen to help feed people all over the world. And you folks are incredible. I passed along word to Bo's widow that we had done that, and she was very grateful. So I want to thank everyone for helping out and making another successful Charity Tuesday. You guys are fantastic. Okay. All right. So GameStop announced they're launching their Web3 gaming platform. So going to get those NFTs actually useful, something other than monkey pictures for once. So to me, that means you'll have games that are blockchained. You'll have downloadable content that's blockchained. You'll have the ability to trade trinkets from one game to another, say skin from Fortnite for a weapon in Call of Duty or whatever. You'll be able to trade those things back and forth on the market. It'll be very interesting. It will finally give GameStop a presence in a competition for things like Steam. I was very curious to see exactly how that goes. And I just realized also that I forgot to fill my water. I'm gonna need my water. Okay, give me 30 seconds. 30 seconds. I'll give you an After Dark intro while I run and do this. Right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, go. Woo! I'm back. That was crazy. Wow. Wowee. Okay. I'm hydrated. Oh my goodness. I looked over. It's like, I thirst. And then there's nothing in the glass. Oh, terrible. Okay. What else, Monkey? Yeah, she's a floor dog today. She always spent so much time in the sunshine. I think she cooked her brain. Okay. Matt Newton, no audio. Okay, got that one. Quiet Quest. FINRA has till tomorrow to respond to Basile. Excellent. Because yeah, they extended it a week, right? Because they're supposed to respond on the 24th. So, come on, give it to us. 26th, somewhere in there. If there are things to talk about, you guys throw it at me. And I ask if anyone is surfing the web, watching this, and discovers a link showing what the stalking horse bid is, by all means, let us know. Because I'm not actively searching right now. I am here purely as a facilitator for when someone else gets the information. I will gladly throw it out there for you. Lost Waves, new Tenacious D is out. Excellent. I still have not seen Pick a Destiny. Kelly Reed, China's Evergrande Group wealth management company announced available cash is not enough. Company will continue to dispose of assets to raise funds. Me, an intellectual, what assets? Yes. I mean, they got some tofu dang buildings that are falling apart that no one wants. So there's that. Kelly Reed, Canada home building crucify slows in recent months to tight labor market. Borrowing costs up, buckle up, Canadians, housing crash. And Kelly Reed also says, happy birthday. Did you see insider article stating GME is bound to squeeze? Does this mean media outlets are slowly preparing to warn folks of a possible MOAS event, media finally admitting? I mean, we've known it. We're sitting here waiting. I really hope, I mean, I don't even need that much of a pop for BBBYQ from news of bidders. Just a little bit, and I can get myself over that 1,000 share GME threshold I've been setting for myself. Oh, so close, so close. Okay. Danny Motes, Houston, happy birthday. What is the closest you've ever come to drinking alcohol? Also, BBBYQ situation looking good or bad? I mean, I've got hopium in me, but I don't want to not make people aware of the pitfalls. Now, companies in bankruptcy, they're in reorganization bankruptcy, which means if they reorganize and they find a bidder, they're cool. If they don't find a bidder, I think BBY is toast. So the way bidding would work is they have about $1.4 billion in debt they wouldn't be able to discharge. They've got another $5 billion in leases because when you buy a lease for a building, you're buying it for 10 years or 20 years or whatever. So there's leases that they're beholden to, but that in reorganization is separate. There's bidders now that will be bidding on those leases to take over those leases. So that happens sometime this month. Also, I can't remember the exact dates, the 16th or something. And so who cares about those billions of dollars in and obligations for leases, because those will be taken care of. The $1.4 billion in bonds that they owe for money that they borrowed, that pretty much has to be taken care of by the bidders. Now, in all reality, someone could bid for Bed Bath & Beyond's assets and bid under $1.4 billion. They could bid $500 million. Be like, hey, pick this up for a song. And if the court and the debtors go, oh, fine, it's all we're going to get out of it, then they just take the $500 million and everything else is just a write-off of complete loss of $900 million. And then the Bed Bath & Beyond name carries on. Without really much in the way of assets. All the product gets sold and everything in the warehouses disappears. Most people get laid off, and it's just a name you have that's called Bed Bath & Beyond. You got to start from scratch. So, but if the bidding is above $1.4 billion, that takes care of all of the debt, and any money left over goes to shareholders as a purchase price for the shares. So if the bidding is $1.85 billion, right, then $1.4 billion goes to debt, and the $450 million becomes a dollar per share win for anyone who has Bed Bath & Beyond stock. So we're hoping for bids above $1.4 billion. Anything above 1.4 billion adds to the stock value, because that stock, the company gets purchased, likely made private, or new shares get issued to the purchasers, but people get bought out. Now, there seems to be a lot of folks who want them. They had a big list of folks who are interested in purchasing it. We know of Ryan Cohen and possibly a triumvirate of Carl Icahn and Greg Pulte. So those three seems very likely they may be involved in purchasing Bed Bath & Beyond for the purposes of encapsulating it with G-America. Now, Carl Icahn reports show that they freed up about $1.5 billion. We know that Ryan Cohen probably has access to about that much cash. I have no idea how much Pulte can pull together, but let's just say they pull together $3.5 billion, right? So $1.4 billion goes to debt, and $2.1 billion will be left over for shareholders, which would come out to $4.5 a share. That's pretty decent, right? Now, the first bid may be pretty low, because, stalking horse bid, they can bid whatever they want, and any interested parties after that have until Wednesday to bid, 5 p.m. East Coast time, Wednesday to bid, and they have to bid more than what the stalking horse bidder bid. And anyone who bid more than that comes together for an auction on June 16th. And whoever wins that auction probably gets the company. So we just got to wait and see. We got to wait and see what happens with regards to that. So come on, a high stalking horse bid. That's what I want to see. Then again, maybe a low one. We get a whole bunch of interested parties jumping in there, and we have a good old fashioned auction fight. People do stupid things at auctions. I don't know how many of you have ever been to auctions, but there's a frenzy that can happen, and people will buy things for more than it's worth that you can get elsewhere because they don't want to lose. And I go to a lot of auctions. I love auctions. But you go in, you have a price in your brain. I will pay this much for that thing and not a penny more. And if it goes above that, you're done. Don't go like this though, because that means half bid. So saying $500, and you go, $250. So don't do that. You go, no, I am not bidding. No. And then they won't say you're the bidder. So when I was in college in Hawaii, we moved to a new house. We had no furniture because the previous place we lived in had been furnished, and we had to buy furniture. So these hotels are always remodeling and stuff. So you go to the auction house and you get some furniture from the old hotels, and who knows how many millions of people have farted on the bed or whatever. But there's stuff you can buy. I remember there was a teak furniture store that had gone out of business, and so they had all this amazing, kitchen islands and wine racks and dinner tables and all sorts of really cool stuff. And we're like, hey, it's auction. If there aren't too many bidders, we might be able to get some of this stuff for a song and have a really, really nice furniture in the house. And so my roommate and I, we went in, we looked at all the things we wanted. We made a little budget. We said, okay, we bid this much for these things. And we sat there and we looked up online how much this stuff should cost. So, this table is $2,000 in real life. But then again, we're poor college students and we're at auction. So we'll bid $200 to see if we can get it for $200. And at this point, we've been going to the auction every Saturday for months, just picking up things here and there. There's a headboard, or here's a couch, whatever. And this auction has a whole bunch of people from Kona showed up. So obviously they had advertised to the Kona side of the island where the rich people are, and they showed up to Paradise Auctions in Hilo. And items would come up, we bid on it, and then we get outbid and we'd stop bidding. And the auctioneer would be like, gentlemen, another bid? I'm like, nope, we're done. And after the 10th piece of furniture sold for way too much money, we're talking that table to be worth $2,000 sold for $6,000, right? Just absolutely just stupid amounts of money. The auctioneer was like, what is going on? And he couldn't help himself. At one point he said, ladies and gentlemen, look at these two men right here. when you see them stop bidding, stop bidding. And it didn't work. Those people spent so much money. I remember there was also like a little Zodiac knockoff boat. And it was like, oh, we get this little boat. It's got a little trailer on it, and a little electric motor. We can go out in the bay and we can go fishing. And you looked it up, and like the boat was like $400. The motor was like $200. So like that's $600 total. And we'd bid $300 for the whole thing. And it ended up going for like $3,000. And the auctioneer was just like, what is going on? But anyway, auction frenzies can happen. And I'm not sure exactly how I doubt in this day and age the bidding is done in person, like in a room or on courthouse steps or something. It's probably all online bidding through some sort of bankruptcy court website. But yeah, a frenzy can happen. People can promise more than they ever expected to, and all of a sudden be like, oh crap, we just bid $6 billion on this company. And what does that mean for us? So things get weird. Pen name. Rosa is smart, funny, charming, too good to be true. Maybe she was hired to defuse us from class action lawsuit akin to AMC, which makes you suspect? Nah. No. Nope. Rosa's cool. She's got something brewing. Don't worry. She does have something brewing. Meow meow. Pen name. Send me whatever it is you're smoking. Pen name. Relax and rely on one person. Seems dumb. We didn't rely on one person. She is willingly letting anybody use her filing documents. If they want to amend them, if they want to hire an attorney, have them look them over, add things, take things out, change things different. She said anyone can use those filing documents and to have at it. Now, Rose is a shareholder. She's on our side. She just didn't win this time around. But I promise you, she's got something brewing. Believe me. Okay. Where was I? Oh yeah. And Danny Motes, what's the closest you ever came to drinking alcohol? 3 occasions. Once I was 3 years old. We were at the O'Neill's house for New Year's Eve. We had a party, our next door neighbors at a party, and I had a wine glass with Martinelli's apple cider in it. And I'd set it down because they had a grand piano, and I was like slapping on the piano and making noise. And they said, stop making noise on the piano, you 3-year-old. And I picked up my Martinelli's apple cider, took a sip, and it was someone's champagne. And it was disgusting. That was the first time. Second time, I was with my friend Mark and some other friends, and we're at the beach. I was a designated driver, and they were getting wasted at the beach. And I had poked fun at Mark for some reason, and he turned and just spit an entire mouthful of beer into my mouth. And so, yeah, that was disgusting. And then the third time was a few years ago. I'd done a road trip out to Wyoming to stake a claim. It's a quick trip. Like I noticed this claim had expired, and I hopped in the truck, and I 2-day drive to Wyoming, staked the claim, 2-day drive back. And on the way back, I was staying in a hotel in Missoula, Montana, and nothing was open. I checked in like 10 o'clock at night. Every restaurant was closed. There's nothing. But there's a gas station across the street. I'm like, hey, gas station food. They got chicken tenders, whatever. So I go in, get some chicken tenders, get some JoJo's, get, I don't know, hand pump nacho cheese crap. And looking for a beverage, and there's this root beer. It's called Best Damn Root Beer. I was like, well, I like me a good root beer. Let's see if this is the best damn root beer. And I buy it, go back to my room, eat chicken tender, crack open my root beer, take a sip, and it tasted like how homeless people smell. It was so gross. And it ended up being a fortified root beer, and I didn't know that when I bought it. It was... Best Damn Root Beer was disgusting. It did not taste like root beer. It tasted like a homeless encampment. Not to disparage homeless people. You don't have access to running water, laundry, things like that. But by God, no one wants to smell that or taste that, and let alone pay money for it. So Best Damn Root Beer was a false advertising in the truest sense of the word. Like Greenland. Those are my 3 instances of having alcohol, other than like NyQuil when I'm sick, in my mouth. Bill Cohen, Kelly, Jimmy could be more specific. Who wrote the article? Where? When? Stuff like that. Thanks. I only ask because if you do Google search, they are written every month for years now. Paratarian, Houston. Thoughts on GME's Web3 Gaming Hub, incoming predictions of earnings, any new info on No Labs. Also, when is Dr. Becky collab? Oh yeah, Dr. Becky. I wrote that down and I did not do anything about that. I have it on my note here. So I don't know when the collab will be. Web3 gaming. Briefly touched on that at the beginning of the show. I think it's awesome. I think that is the first tangible use of NFTs that we can have. Like, no one cares about certified monkey pictures. They don't. They pretended like they did because the greater fool fallacy allowed them to like get people all spun up like, oh my god, this monkey picture is worth so much money. I need to get my own monkey picture. And then now that no one cares. The greater fools disappeared and monkey pictures aren't worth anything anymore. But being able to mint media that people actually consume, like video games, and being able to transfer ownership of those video games from one gamer to another digitally, brilliant. Being able to make use of DLCs and perks people get in their video games, they may like, they may not like, they might want to trade them for another perk in a different video game. Fantastic. But there's a market for that. People do pay money for those things, and they will pay real money for them. So I think it's great. Prediction on earnings. I will say they will beat estimates, but I don't know if it'll be a profitable quarter. Because no real big games came out, no new consoles came out, post-Christmas doldrums. I bet they'll be up over what they were the year before. I bet earnings will be higher. I don't know if it'll be profitable for quarter one, but I think they're going to beat estimates. And any new info on No Labs? Yesterday, No Labs sent out a peer-reviewed article that they're getting published about how they were able to refine the accuracy of their device, and now it's within the threshold of other FDA-approved invasive monitors. So they aren't quite to the best system, but they're getting there. So, but they're within the threshold and the limits of other FDA-approved devices. So they're on their way. Meatball Candy. Would any of this MMTLP debacle have any impact on NextBridge from completing a sale? I don't think so. Unless shorts somehow jump in and tell like Chevron or something not to do anything about it. Personally, I think the best thing that NextBridge could do is not just drill test wells at this point, but get at least one well producing. So drill a well, get it producing, hire trucks, start shipping oil. Just start moving oil and showing that the site can be productive. And that people always want something that's productive. Like they'll bid on oil leases that have never been tested before because it's an unknown. Like, oh, it could be anything in there. And for some reason, if there's a known commodity, they don't do anything about it. It's like not as sexy. But if it's producing, all of a sudden like, oh, this one's producing. We need to buy this. We need to put it in our portfolio. So I think NextBridge needs to somehow raise the funds and just get one well. If they got to drill 5 test wells a year, make one of them production well and just start producing and just get some contractors in there to start moving oil. And you know, at that point you can raise money as well. So you know, that one well can produce X number of hundreds of thousands of dollars a quarter. So may as well have some sort of income coming in, right? First name, last name. Houston, can you explain how inverse stocks work? Thanks. Have a great show. Gonna listen tomorrow. Talking about inverse ETFs. Those are generally either they find stocks that do the opposite of what another stock does. So if you have, I don't know, a anti-Boeing ETF, right? You're going to want to invest in something that has Airbus or that Chinese plane company that just made their first passenger jet. You want to have like their competitors, because oftentimes when you got like a two choices for plane, I can get an Airbus or a Boeing. I'm gonna go with Airbus. Then Boeing loses out, right? So if Boeing's losing, that means Airbus is winning. If Airbus is losing, then Boeing is winning. You also, in inverses, they will do these put spreads. They'll do near-term puts, far-out puts, leaps, all sorts of stuff like that. And so when the index drops, then the puts make money, and it costs money to buy those puts, which is why you'll see things like UVXY decay over time, because they buy a bunch of puts and oftentimes they don't pay out, so they don't get any money back on that. So it decays over a period of time until it goes to zero. Then they open up another one and start again, and it's all in the hopes that at some point the inverse is going to pay off, and that's what you're going to get. Pair turn. Got a company-wide email from the big ups from Bank of America. There's going to be a major conference call about exposure to certain systemic risks within the market coming soon. Oh my. Keep us updated. Citizen 54. Have you heard on the new Ryan Cohen Meme King doc on MSNBC? Seems like a 1 hour hit piece. Thoughts? I mean, I've heard it's coming. I have not seen it. So it could be hit piece. I mean, we'll have to see. DeckP, GME partners with Telos, who will launch their Web3 games on the GameStop Player. I think you can sign up now for the pre-release of that GameStop Player. So it's coming. Oh, and there's the reset. That's always the reset, and then where were we? Okay. Citizen 54. Apparently, Jamie Dimon did know Epstein and had several hard snacks at his place. That pedo is now being urged to run for president. How bad are his chances? Jamie Dimon running for president would be hilarious. I mean, the guy is, he's the CEO, but he's just kind of an off-putting person. But yeah, keeping that Epstein connection tradition alive in our presidents is just a nice common thread we can all pull, huh? Federal prosecutors have obtained audio recording of a summer 2021 meeting in which Trump acknowledged he held on to classified Pentagon document about potential attack on Iran. $2 billion to Kushner. Yes. So one of the things revealed in the court filings regarding the documents, the classified documents, was that there were detailed plans about the nuclear capabilities and systems and locations of an unnamed country. This led to people think, oh, Iran and Saudi Arabia wanted it. The fact that Kushner got $2 billion from the Saudis and the Emiratis for his hedge fund, and that Trump got the exclusive rights for the Live Golf tour, leads people to believe that Trump and Kushner sold those documents to the Saudis so they could have detailed info about Iran, or attack plans for Iran. Yeah, I mean, his old lawyer Ty Cobb, the grandson of the baseball player Ty Cobb, who's got a fantastic mustache, by the way, has a hell of a handlebar mustache on Ty Cobb. He said that Trump's going to prison for this one. He's like, nah, he's done. He's going to prison for it. Prosecutors have been pretty tight-lipped about everything, but Trump's own lawyers seem to be panicking, and they're desperately asking for like a meeting with Merrick Garland to beg him to stop the investigation, stop the special counsel from filing. Yeah, he seems toast on this one. Jay Perry, USAB, I'm in. A passing cloud. Let's go BBBYQ. Firearms AMC, YOLO. Passing cloud, here we are. Now entertain us. ABC Pulte tweet at 4:44. I'm going to have something big soon. You will have to have your notifications on. Oh, really? Shall we go to... Still got Mike Zannino's terrible batting scores up here. Back to Mike Zannino. I mean, seriously. Look at this. 33 home runs, 72 hits. It's nearly every second hit is a home run. But the dude can't for shit. It's 132 strikeouts. Every single one of those strikeouts is on a slider. I guarantee you. Just, that's 132 sliders they stuck his butt out, swung at, and never hit. 555 hits, 1,077 strikeouts. My God, Mike Zannino, you're so strong. And if you get a fastball, you hit it so hard. Anyway, I'm getting distracted. Twitter. That's where we're going. Twitter. I'm going to Pulte. Pulte. Okay, can AMC shareholder and Jimmy shareholder stay in the same room for an entire day? I mean, I'm in the room myself all day long. Let's see here. I'm going to do something big soon. You will want to have your notifications on. That's 47 minutes ago. Oh, really? Oh, boy. BBBYQ. $10 says bowel movement. Okay. All right. Let's see. All the rumors mill people are saying BBBBY. So, okay. Let's. Oh, you turn off the bathroom one. All right. So, Mike, triple intro. Off. Spartan, not financial advice, but I think RC ICANN Pulte bid over $3 billion. Delicious. I would like that, Spartan. Meow meow. Trump will never see the inside of a prison cell. Reminder, he's 77 years old and 220 pounds. Good luck prosecuting a corpse. He's well over 220. I'm 215, right? I'm 6'4", 215. Trump is at least 2 inches, if not more, shorter than me, and like 3 of me. That dude is much bigger than 220. 320 maybe? He's quite a barrel. All right. Where was I? Oh yeah, that's the Pulte thing. And here's everyone telling me no audio, no audio, no audio, no audio. Lips mewing, no sound. Squamps I might trade on the toilet, but this show gets me so excited I just crap my pants. Okay, no sound, no sound, no sound. That's Jay Geyser's a hideously good shirt. This is Michael Mystery. This is just a beauty of a shirt. Absolute beauty, eh? So the reason why there's no show yesterday was, well, I had to do errands. I had to go to Silverdale, which is like 40 minutes away, and do the Costco runs. And then came back, and we were working. My roommate's fiance is a mechanic. We've been working on the lawnmower. So we basically cleaned out the carb, cleaned out the fuel system. We fixed. There was a problem with there's a pressure plate on the seat. So like, fall off the lawnmower won't keep driving away. So we fixed that, and then we discovered that the ignition is completely crapped out. So you can like jiggle the ignition, and they'll turn off and on and do something. So I've got new ignition coming on Friday. So hopefully the lawnmower will be so nice and dialed. And I'll put that new ignition on Friday, and I'll be able to just mow the lawn. Oh, I've got an hour. I can mow the entire acre of yard. So we'll get that going. So that we like took apart the carburetor, and then realized that there's a fuel bowl. I don't know if you guys know anything about engines, but so with the carburetor, you got air coming in, and the air fuel mixture goes into the cylinder. So it's just a little 4-stroke Honda engine, and you got this floater, and like the fuel goes in, the floater bobber goes up and blocks off any more fuel going in until that stuff goes in, and then it keeps a nice amount in there. Well, there's a little pin. You slide into the floater and stick in there, and we totally missed the tiny little pin, and the floater was just like reaching the roof, and the whole thing was filling up with fuel, and it was flooding itself out. And just I take the carburetor apart again, fix that, put it back in, and the seal gasket didn't get put on quite properly. I'd take it apart again. It just takes time. Just little things. But you know what? The lawnmower is going to work. I'm so grateful. The lawnmower's running so nice now too. It was like backfiring and stuff. Now it's like brrr, just doing its thing. So we got that going for us. Where was I? The OB calls and double intro. Dude, I introed so many times today. Aaron Salentine, Houston. So go to the bidding among the crowd, say $80 a share. It would be 80. Okay, let's go to the calculator and see what $80 a share, what ridiculousness $80 a share would look like. Where's my calculator? There's my calculator. Oh, I closed calculator. Dang it. Calculator. Boing. There we go. Whoop. Why are you down there, calculator? Oh, because paint's in the way. Paint, go away. There we go. Why are you like... Okay, whatever. You guys can't see the numbers, but I can see the numbers. Here we go like this. Ah, there we are. Okay. I want, allow me to, all right, whatever. $80 a share times 450 million-ish shares, right? That'd be a $36 billion bid plus the 1.4 billion to cover, whoops. 4 0. So it'd be a $37.4 billion bid for Bed Bath & Beyond. That's silly. I would love it, but it's not going to happen. So just think about some things in your head. All right. So Elon Musk pays $44 billion for Twitter, right? Just 6 months ago. Twitter at the time had, they got some debt. They had, like a couple $100 million a year that they paid out in interest on their debt. They were still losing money a pinch. Their revenue was around $5-6 billion a year. He paid $44 billion for the company. Since then, they've lost 89% of their advertisers. The revenue has dropped over $4 billion, so now they're making about $1 billion a year. And their payments on interest is $1.5 billion a year. So they're just hemorrhaging money like crazy. Fidelity still says they're worth $14.5 billion. This is a $1 billion a year company that's losing a couple $1 billion a year, right? So now, $1 billion a year company losing $1 to $2 billion a year, and they're still worth $14.5 billion. Bed Bath & Beyond has less than 1/10 the debt Facebook or Twitter has, and makes $6 to $7 billion a year in revenue. And their valuation is pennies. Like pennies. You buy the entire company for like, what, $50 million or something ridiculous like that. So if you want to just buy all the stock and accumulate that debt. So why is Twitter worth $14.5 billion and Bed Bath & Beyond worth spit and a fart? There's some real revenue in there, and it's not very much debt compared to how much revenue they make. So there's really, and the debt they have is due entirely to one round of stock buybacks. They have $1.4 billion in debt, and they made $1.5 billion in stock buybacks 2 years ago. So if they never did the stock buybacks, they wouldn't have the debt they currently have. So there's some positives on the end of BBBY for whoever wants to pick them up. They're going to be easy to clean up and turn into a powerhouse retailer again. Squamps. Eldritch Fairgrounds pattern shirt, I believe. I have no idea what that means, but okay. OG the Star Killer. How high van BBBY go if RC is involved? Not a clue. Analysts a couple weeks ago were saying between $4 and $6 a share. When that $4 a share puts it at like 18 billion or 1.8 billion beyond the bidding. So that's like 3.2 billion would be a bid to put it at $4 a share. $6 a share would put it at about $4 billion bid. So if we see stuff like that, if the stalking horse comes in above 1.4, I think the bidding at auction could be significantly higher as well. JL 2023, happy birthday, Houston. Do you like bowling? If so, what's your high game? I enjoy bowling quite a bit. I'm not a good bowler by any means. My best game is a 163, so that's not okay game if you're playing with some friends. The day I got a 163 was surreal. So Hilo Lanes in Hawaii, my friends and I lived in, at the time I lived in the hippie house, and I didn't really want to spend any time in the hippie house because they'd steal my food and they're just shitty people. So I basically just slept there and then would spend the rest of my waking days somewhere else. And so I hung out at my friend Sarah and Kenda's house. And Sarah is now the Capcom for Blue Origin. And Kenda was her roommate. And then Kenda's boyfriend Tommy came out. He was a fly fishing guide during the winter, had nothing to do. So he came out to Hawaii and was staying out there during the winter. And we went bowling. We took our friend Coco with us. And Coco is our Chinese friend whose dad's probably, I don't know, triad or something. We have no idea. A dark mystery around Coco. And Coco had never been bowling in her life. Tommy, I'm pretty sure, smoked all the hash in the entire world and was stoned out of his mind. And we go bowling. And I bowl a 163. I'm elated. Coco, who's never bowled a day in her life, has no idea what she's doing. You know, you normally take the ball and you roll it and you might put a little spin on it, whatever. She had the ball and she would just kind of like walk up and just kind of drop it. And this ball would roll and roll and roll. And it would take minutes to get down there and hit that first pin. And all 10 of them would go, ugh. Coco, having never bowled a day in her entire life, using this weird little limp-wristed backhand method, bowled a 205. Her first game ever. She had like 2 turkeys. It was insane. Tommy, who was so blottoed, he barely knew where he was, bowled a 271. It was absolutely insane. And the highest score, Hilo Lanes, they had a list of the 10 highest scores of the year. He was on that list. I think he was like this within the second or third highest. And so, you know, we take our scores, we go to the thing, we're ecstatic because Tommy's bowled 271s. I've never seen anyone bowl that in person before. And we go to the counter like, hey, dude, our friend Tommy, he just bowled 271s, put his name on the board. Woo! And they're like, no. What? No. But it's literally like the third highest score of the entire year. No. Huh? But like it's you celebrate the highest scores. No. And from that point forward, they would never rent us a lane again. We'd show up to go bowling, they'd be like, it's league night, no lanes available. And there's like no one in there. And it's not a league night. And so we'd have Coco go in. So this Asian girl go in. And Coco got us a lane. And then we'd all come marching in after her and get our shoes. And they'd be like, Gah! And then when Coco would come in, they wouldn't rent her a lane anymore. So then we got our Hawaiian friend Ahia, who you guys met on the show 2 years ago. And And so this Hawaiian girl will go in, she get us a lane, and all of his white kids come after her and go bowling, and they stop renting to Ahia. It was insane. Like, all because Tommy would have been the only white boy on that board. They was like, no, you can't rent these people anymore. Which, you know, hey, white people. That's how we treat pretty much every other race that lives in the United States of America. So, if you want to have some sort of like sympathy for what it's like to be discriminated against, just go to Gila Lanes and rent a lane. You'll know what it's like to be a minority in town. Everyone should experience that at some point. I mean, I don't think everybody should experience it like all the time, but if you're a white person you've never experienced it before, it's a good thing to, like, you know, you can then not just put yourself in other people's shoes, you can have been that person in those other people's shoes. But yeah, I've never bowled anything close to that since. I don't remember what my second highest would be at this point, like maybe a 140. I'm a terrible bowler. My stepmom, little 3 foot tall Okinawan lady, she bowls a 200 regularly in league play, and she's like 80 pounds. I am in awe of her and her bowling league abilities. But the closest bowling alley we have is 40 minutes away in Silverdale, so it has to be like a special occasion for us to go bowling. Squamps that playing the intro is massive. Brendan T. Houston. Honestly, I feel that nothing will ever happen to MMTLP because nobody with power wants to pull the trigger and piss off the rich, powerful people. The MFers are looking the other way. This is why you gotta be annoying. We don't have the money, we don't have the power, but what we do have is being incredibly annoying. Being the most annoying people in existence there is. So continue to be annoying, because people will gladly give up money and power just to get rid of something that's annoying, to make it go away. So keep being annoying. Lord Jameson Houston, what are your thoughts on Luke Wilson's adult animated series Fired on Mars? It kept me watching. I have never heard of that, so I don't have an opinion. I didn't know there was an animated series called Fire on Mars. So that's the first I'm learning about it. Yeah, I'll have to look it up. What's it on? I don't know. Aaron Salentine, Houston. Buying your Robinhood account, Acor, doing a 21 reverse split. Get that free share. The other mining company I showed you last live, it does its reverse split June 9th, still in time. Okay, so I'm supposed to buy after hours June 9th? That's what you're saying? All right. He's wearing pants today. Victor M also wants to know what realistic stock price is. Yeah, I mean, 4 to 6 doesn't seem too unrealistic to me. Pays off the debt, gets the assets, gives the shareholder something pretty, allows the company to remain being an established retailer. I'm okay with it. Quiet Quest, why do I think MMTLP resolution will take a lot longer than we think? Because it already has. Salty Gosling, hi Houston. First time catching you live since I'm in Eastern Europe. Do open Google Earth over Kyiv Airport and around. Check out what the trolls did there. Busha such also Mario Tool. Okay, Kyiv Airport. Come on, Google Earth. You can do it. You can do it, Google Earth. You got it. There we go. Okay. All right. Go to Kyiv Airport. Come on, let's get you organized. Go north. All right. Kyiv. I have no idea where the airport is in Kyiv. Is that the airport? Looks like an airport. I don't know how up to date this is. When's this from? This is from, oh, it's 1985. Wait, oh, it goes back to 1985. So, what am I looking for? Over Kyiv Airport and around. Check out the trolls did there. Bucha, such also Mariupol. Do they have updated images? I have not actually looked to see if they have updated images of Mariupol. Meow. Cat wants in. 1 sec. Hi, buddy. Come on. Yeah, hello. Move it. Get in. Yes. Okay. This is images from before the war. These are all. Oh, some of these might be. This is bombed out. Okay, this is stuff that's been destroyed. Goodness gracious, that's bombed out. What are the numbers for? I wonder what those represent. Addresses? That's bombed out. Cat. You're in the way, Cat. You looking for your drugs? Your drugs are on the floor, dude. You passed by. There you go. Goodness gracious. Bombed out. Bombed out. Bombed out. Maybe 1 in 10 has a roof on them? My goodness. I was expecting this to be updated, but it is. Wow. Goodness gracious. Is anything updated in Bakhmut? Oh, Sneezy Cat. Bakhmut is what? Around now? Near Dnipro. It's up north. I cannot find it probably without help. Bakhmut. Oh, a little too far west. Okay, so this is the one they've been fighting over for like 9 months. And these images are from before the fighting. So this city is a complete ghost town now. So nothing updated here yet. That's still yet to come. Man. All right. Well, Slav Ukraini. Kitty cat. Want your thing? You want your thing? You're gonna keep hitting your doodad? Waiting on the non-existent dog. Okay. Are you in Ukraine, Salty Gosling? If so, keep strong. Kyle Ryannon. Happy birthday, Houston. Apple ripping to 52-week high after hours. Who is buying what RC sold? I don't know if RC sold it. I don't know who has $5.8 billion in Apple stock that they can sell, or why they would sell it. Not a clue. But yeah, who's buying? John B. Are the BRICS countries using their own electronic clearinghouse now after Russian banks were banned from SWIFT? I'm sure they're trying to develop that system. I bet it's more antiquated than having electronic clearing at the moment. Simply because the currencies they're using are not necessarily currencies of demand, and there's already problems with them all. Like we talked about last time, China and India hate each other. They're like in a little mini war in their border region to begin with. India is becoming the largest purchaser of oil from Russia, and they're doing it with rupees. And they send these rupees to Russia for the oil, and Russia's like, cool. Can we exchange these rupees for ruples? And China and India's like, no. But what you can do is you can buy a bunch of stuff from us with rupees. And Russia's like, I don't want anything you have. So Russia's now stuck with a bunch of rupees they can't use because they don't know what the hell to buy from India with them. And they don't have any rubles that they can use in their own country. And no one else wants the Indian rupees. So they really don't know. Cat, you are so annoying. Just let it stay there. So it's not run smoothly for the BRICS countries at the moment. Saudi Arabia is in talks with Russia about coordinating oil production, which to me that cat quit in the thing, which to me says, maybe the United States government should stop sending weapons to Saudi Arabia. Like, entire Saudi Arabian military is dependent upon U.S. provided weapons, and if we just didn't provide weapons to them anymore, and didn't do maintenance and didn't send them parts, they might start listening to us, right? Because what are they going to do? They're going to get a bunch of Russian weapons. We've seen how well that works. Russian weapons are great against an unarmed population. They're terrible against people who have NATO arms. They just get shredded. So Saudi Arabia is too rich and fancy. They're never going to go for Russian-made weapons. They just know that they're dog shit, so they don't want them. And also Saudi Arabia, while they're trying to expand their industries beyond oil, they're now allowing tourists and building lots of touristy things and trying to bring people in. There's even a show on Amazon now that I watched the other day about hidden gems of Saudi Arabia for tourists. Such cool things in Saudi Arabia. I'll be honest. I would love to go tour the place. All sorts of awesome geological and historical and anthropological sites all over the country. But they have to import their labor. They have a really, really, really wealthy population. They've got way too many princes who don't have to do anything for work. And if you're going to have trash collection, hotel concierge and house cleaners, every single one of those people come from somewhere else. And they import them from Bangladesh, from India, from Pakistan, from the Philippines, etc. And so if you're going to have a domestic defense company, which... if you're not going to buy Russian weapons, you're not going to be allowed to buy American weapons. You have to make your own domestic weapons. You're going to have them made by a bunch of people from other countries. You're not going to trust your Defense Department to a whole bunch of foreigners. So I think we could definitely give Saudi Arabia a nudge and say, hey, if you guys are going to keep being in talks with Russia, we're not going to sell you stuff anymore. So let's see if that could change behaviors. I don't know. Dog Mom's here. Hello. Martin Weiss. If you had to believe in one conspiracy, would it be A, moon landing faked by Kubrick, Earth is flat, aliens dug down the dinosaur bones, chemtrails, control our minds, and why? Of those four, I would just go with the dinosaur bones one because it's the least... silly or the least brain rotting, I should say. It's still stupid to think that aliens place the dinosaur bones wherever they are, but chemtrails and flat earth rots brains, and moon landing by Kubrick rots brains as well. So I would go for the one that rots the least brains on that, and that's my why. Squamps Rose's cat might be a Russian spy. Martin Weiss, I wrote a haiku. With this, I say good night and show myself out the door. I wrote a haiku. It was very hard to make. Now I hate haikus. Kayla Reed, unrealized losses at banks continue to pile up. $516 billion in losses in Q1 and down 25% from peak. Going to be sad for people who are unaware of the situation till it's too late. That's something to think about. The regional banks are crashing because everyone's pulling their money out, right? And first they're they're all headed to Bank of America and Chase and stuff. But deposits at those banks are also down. And my guess is deposits at those banks are down because middle class and below don't have any money that were maxed out. And if they restart student loans, they're going to be pulling $400 on average a month in discretionary income from families' pockets. That's all discretionary income they have left. That's it. So, what Biden should do, if I were President Houston Wade, I would forgive student loans. Just write them off. Done. Maybe make people pay taxes on the amount that they got written off, whatever. I don't care. And then the people who paid off their student loans, people who they took out their student loans, they spent 20 years paying them off, whatever. Give those people a tax credit. Give them a $40,000 tax credit, whatever it is they paid off. And so if they owe $40,000 in taxes, now they don't owe any taxes. They paid it off. It's next 3 years they don't pay any taxes or something. That's what I would do. If you want to win people over, because you always have the arguments of like, well, why should they get their student loans forgiven? I had to pay mine. Well, I'm going to give you money for yours, dipshit, so that maybe you'll shut up about it and allow us to like improve our education system. That's what I would do. I mean, we're at $1.8 trillion in student loans. People are getting squeezed by inflation like nobody's business. And the dumbest thing you could possibly do is make people go back to paying their student loans again. Just postpone it forever, or just forgive them all at this point. And then make public institutions free. Public institutions, tuition free, go from there. Yeah. Mad idea. No wonder you're not president. Here's the thing, is that other nations are able to provide college educations to their population at no cost to the students. Not only that, they'll give stipends to students so they can afford to live and study while they're studying, because an educated population is a trained population. A trained population is an employed population. So you don't want to burden all your 22-year-olds in the entire nation who, when they finish college, have no job, and if they do get a job, they're in entry-level positions to get paid dick, right? You don't want to saddle all of them with $50,000 to $100,000 in loans. That's just not how you make a successful population. When my dad went to college, granted, he's old as shit, but he did 7 years at Virginia Tech. In those 7 years, he paid less in tuition, room and board, and books than I pay in 1 month of student loans. It was like $150 a term. And that paid for room, board, books, and laundry service. He would take his laundry in a bag and hand it to someone, and they would do his laundry for him and hand it back, all folded and nice, for like $125, $150 a semester. Minimum wage when he went to college was $1.25 an hour. That meant he could work 100 hours, right? 2.5 weeks in the summer and pay for an entire term of college. Now, minimum wage is $7.25 an hour. So we've gone up not quite 600 and something, at least 600 and so percent. We've gone up in minimum wage in that time. And college tuition is like $25,000 a term. So that doesn't even out at all. And the reason why college tuition is so expensive is because of the way we fund college. Just like health insurance. You have to have so many administrators to facilitate financial aid at college campuses that it raises the overall cost of college. Just like you need so many administrators at a hospital to facilitate insurance. It costs a buttload to deal with that crap, that bureaucracy. So if you just make college tuition free, people just sign up for classes and go, you can wipe out like 90% of the bureaucracy on a college campus. Done. Out. Gone. So we can easily do it, and it'd be cheaper in the long run to do it, and it would benefit everybody. And there'd be more discretionary income in the pockets of people when they graduate college, that they'd be able to buy homes and start families and do all the things that boost an economy. So if you want to improve an economy, there, Peru Invest, you want to make it so that people have discretionary income. So, if you want your investments to do well, then you want the population of people to do well. You want them to not be burdened with debt. So, and then Peru Invest, if you don't have money, don't study. That right there is how you facilitate a plutocracy. So do you want the best people in your country to be able to move up the ranks via merit, right? Do you want those folks to be to be your surgeons, or do you want only rich people to be allowed to be surgeons? Because rich people, let's face it, aren't necessarily the best workers out there. They're just born rich. So only the born rich people are allowed to get educated, or should we educate everybody? Do you want a meritocracy that puts the best and brightest and makes your country as strong as possible? Or do you want a plutocracy where only rich asshole kids are allowed to do anything? What? Rich asshole kids can already afford to go to college, right? They can do it. They get a business degree, then their dad puts them in the firm, and then they keep doing asshole business stuff for the rest of their lives. Or as James Gould once put it, I'm going to paraphrase here. I'm going to totally butcher up the quote. He said something to the effect of, I'm not so concerned about the weights and measures of Einstein's mind, but with the fact that most certainly people who had his intelligence died in the cotton fields and in the factories and never got a chance. There are people who are absolutely brilliant and can do amazing things. They were just born into the wrong socioeconomic ladder. And if we're going to relegate them to like mopping floors and dealing with trash rather than like solving the world's problems because they can't afford college, then we are doomed as a nation and we're doomed as a planet. Absolutely just doomed. Doomed. So, pro-invest. Every single comment you have made so far is abjectly wrong, overtly wrong, and will remain wrong forever. There you go. Okay. Deport illegal aliens. Dude, you do realize that Florida is grinding to a halt? They have no construction. Their agriculture business is plummeting. Truckers won't deliver food because they're attacking undocumented immigrants. Right? Like, don't create jobs specifically for these people and encourage them to come here and work those jobs, right? And then be like, oh, they're evil. How dare they pick those strawberries? Like, half of them are fleeing violence, and the violence is there because the United States government created the violence, right? If it wasn't for U.S. sanctions on Venezuela would be doing fine right now. Venezuelan economy was growing like 50% a year up until 2014 when we slapped over a whole bunch of sanctions. So, the violence in Venezuela that's causing people to refugees and flee is a result of U.S. policies. The violence that's happening in El Salvador, in Honduras, in Guatemala, all entirely due to U.S. policies. We started civil wars in their countries because we didn't like the politicians they elected. So we've just flooded them with armaments and we paid a bunch of like fascists to kill a bunch of the people. And then when they fled those wars and came to America, they found themselves maligned by our racist systemic policies, and they were forced to create things like street gangs. And then what happens when you create street gangs? Well, you have a crime element, right? And then you arrest them and you deport them back to El Salvador, Honduras, and Guatemala, where they don't have the infrastructure to handle a bunch of organized criminals being deported all at once. So we created the criminals here, we deport them back to the Central American countries where they just wreak havoc on the population, and the government can't do anything about it, and the population flees and comes where? Here. So we're creating the entire system that is making for most of these illegal, undocumented immigrants to come here, right? So, not only that, but a lot of them are using stolen Social Security numbers. They're paying into Social Security, they're paying taxes, and they don't get any of the benefits from it. So we're actually making money off of these folks. And so your whole comment about how much money are we spending on these illegals, we could be invested in students. They're spending more money in our government than they're getting any services back from it. So you're wrong. You're wrong about everything. Every single statement you've made so far, every single solitary statement of all those that says pro-invest, 100% wrong. 100% wrong. Nothing about your assumptions, your claims are right. Not one. Not one. So, no. If we want to reduce the number of undocumented immigrants who come to this country, then we need to stop fucking up our neighbors' countries. Right? the United Fruit and the coups that they supported using U.S. dollars in the 1950s to invade countries like Guatemala. The reason why a lot of these countries are banana republics was because dole. So we did that, man. We did that. We did that to them. And we destabilized their countries. And when you destabilize a country, people go, well, shit, I guess I can't live here anymore. I should go to where it's more stable. So where are they going to go? The only stable country that's close to them, which is the United States of America. So they're going to come here. So either we can help these countries become stable first world economies, or we can keep messing with them and keep destroying their infrastructure and keep putting just the worst leadership in there as possible as proxies for our own government. And then we make the problems worse, and we have a whole bunch of, undocumented immigrants come here. But, it helps our system. We use those people to pick all of our food, to watch our children, to clean our buildings, right? To drive our trucks. We do all of those things, and we take every single advantage of it. So either A, do you want to eat food, or do you not want to eat food? If you don't want to eat food, kick out all the immigrants without fixing the system. If you want to eat food, you got two options. You can either pay more for that food so that people who aren't undocumented immigrants can pick it and work as agricultural workers, or you can allow them to work the jobs that they're working now and give them some sort of documentation, right? So which is it? Peru Invest, do you want to starve to death or do you want to eat? Pick one. Because your solutions so far in here suggest you want to starve to death. So by all means, starve to death. You can empty grocery stores in Florida, empty construction sites in Florida, billions of dollars in produce now rotting in the fields because no one's there to pick it. That's your future. That's your future, man. So what's it going to be? We want only the rich people allowed to become educated and to maintain their lording elite over the rest of the population, while the rest of us starve to death because you're so concerned with undocumented immigrants that no one can get an education in this country. That seems to be, cutting off your nose to spite your face. I would suggest that you are placing the blame on the wrong people. The blame is not the people seeking out a better life. Heck, if you aren't Native American or a descendant of slaves in this country, you came here voluntarily as either an immigrant or a refugee seeking asylum. That's it. All right? Oh, it's the legal way. There was no legal way until the 20th century. There wasn't. And the first people that came here just came here like, I claim this land for Spain, right? You put down a flag and now you're going to claim the land of 100 million people? No, that's just not how it works, man. This is most of you are the product of immigration and refugees. And now that you got here and you got yours, no one else should. We need people in this country. Why? Because people live here don't have enough babies to maintain our population. So we need people to come here. And we're making it as hard as possible to get people here. Not only that, but like during the previous administration, they made it really, really hard to bring in the smart people. So those H-1B visas, like the brainiacs we need to brain drain the rest of the country, we made it harder for them. And then we made it harder for colleges, universities to do funding, scientific funding. So we started to get brain drained ourselves. Countries like France were like, hey, you have a science degree? Come to France and we will pay for all of your research. And so scientists started leaving the United States for like the first time ever. So if you want the U.S. to be powerful, you want the U.S. to be strong, you want the U.S. to be a world leader, you need to invite and welcome the smartest people you have on the planet to come here. Make it not just welcoming for them to come here and work for companies and institutions and colleges, but you need to also bring in people to do the other work that Americans aren't willing to do. Because quite frankly, we aren't willing to do it. You're not going to go pick food, man. You're not. You're not going to go out in the strawberry fields. You're not going to go out and pick lettuce. You just aren't. And the fact is, we create a system where we need desperate people who will do anything just to get out of whatever hellhole we created for them in Guatemala to come here and pick our food and make our food cheap and affordable for us. So, yeah. Okay. Oh, you're sad because people are attacking you for your grammar? Oh, maybe you should get some sort of documentation for those wah-wahs. Come on, dude. Nut up. All right. Justin Stewart, what is going on with the media? They really think we are dumb enough to think a whale is trained as a Russian spy. We do train whales. I mean, the U.S. trains them, Russia trains them. We train belugas, we train dolphins. We use them to identify mines out in the water, and we use them to do reconnaissance. Put little cameras on them, and they can do reconnaissance for you. But sometimes they escape. There's one here at Keyport. We can see if we can zoom in on the ye old Keyport here. Yeah, takes a while to zoom out. All right, there we go. Got the planet. Let's fly to my neighborhood. Okay. One of the first strike centers we have here is Keyport Underwater Warfare Complex. This Keyport? Yeah, it's Keyport right here. So this is where they make like torpedoes and stuff. Okay, let's see if we can see. We can go back to 1985. Let's see what we got here. This is 85. This is Landsat, so not very clear at all. Let's see if we can get something. 94? Okay. What I want are the pens. I think this might have been the dolphin pen here. Maybe it was on this side. Where are you, dolphin pens? There were dolphin pens here that they were using for training dolphins. Let's see. We got 2004. Is that too long? It may have been in the lagoon. This might have been where the dolphin pens were. But Keyport they build torpedoes and stuff here. They also have a really, really cool museum. If you have a chance in Kitsap County, go to the U.S. Naval Undersea Museum. It's pretty cool. I recommend it. But they had these pens, and they would train the dolphins. And the main job of the dolphins was to basically do forward reconnaissance. So they would go see if there's any submarines in the area, any sea mines, and they come back and be like, hey, sea mines. And there's a story of one that escaped, vanished, just disappeared. He went on Rumspringa. He was gone for like 4 years. They're like, oh, well, he's gone. And they're coming back. And then all of a sudden, he came back. Right? He came back and was like, as if nothing had changed, and went back to doing his job, doing his training and everything. He was just on Rumspringa. He was on vacation. He just needed some time off and then came back to doing what he did. But the Russians did the same thing. The Russians have pens out in the Kerch Strait right now, and they got pens in Sebastopol. So let me turn that off. Let's go. I'm not sure how up to date these will be because, again, Bakhmut was not up to date. But Black Sea. Whoa. Want to go Sebastopol. See if we can see any pens in here. But the Russians have trained creatures. Where's the... It says 2023. The pens were somewhere in here. Buoy, 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 boat, 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 boat. That's not pen. Where are you, pens? I don't know my Sebastopol well enough. Man, there's a lot of rusty ships in that harbor. Where are you? Down here? Where are you? Sebastopol, pens. Looking for pens with dolphins. Looking for pens with dolphins. Maybe they moved them out to Kerch Strait. Let's look at the Kerch Strait. Okay. That's the bridge. Do you see any pens out here yet? This might have been before the bridge got bombed. So I don't know if they're out here yet. I don't see any. But anyway, I don't think the beluga's a spy. I think the beluga's like, I love people because I was raised by them. And doesn't know the difference between like a Swede and a Russian. Because it's just like people will take a football and they'll throw it out in the water, and the beluga will bring it back and they'll play fetch with it. Why? Because it loves people. It doesn't know other belugas. It's been around them their entire life. It might know to like identify submarines and stuff, but as far as like being an undercover agent and like reporting back to its handlers, that's not happening. Cat, you're such a scratchy dude. Okay. Cosman, one stalking horse. Now? It should be in. We're just waiting for any word. If anyone has any word, put them in there. Antoine Michael Houston. If there are counterfeit shares in Bethlehem, how does that work in relation to stalking horse? If the stalking horse bid is high enough so that the debt is paid off and the rest of the money would go to investors, then that would become a payment in lieu that shorts will have to pay out. So if it's $4 a share, then shorts pay out $4 a share. Scarab 088, am I rich yet? I don't know. We're waiting to find out. Daphne, also, there are an extremely engaged and active MMC community that is anything but relaxing and sit back. Annoying as hell. Squamps, I had that root beer and it's like lightning kick of a old dirty jeans hiding behind witch's brew. Yes, best damn root beer is disgusting. Crispy Chicken's here. Ryan Presley's here. Scarab 88, no new games came out. That's what I was thinking. Mohammed Bazkurt, no new games? No new games. Cosmin, Hogwarts Legacy and Zelda Kill. Hogwarts Legacy came out in quarter 4, and Zelda just came out now in quarter 2. So it won't be included in the sales for earnings report that comes out next Wednesday. So that'll be quarter 2 awesomeness. And man, Patricia Somerset did a fantastic job in Zelda. I know Zelda. We're friends. Yeah. Oh, and there's the reset of the chat. Oh goodness, now I gotta go scroll all the way back, scroll through people being angry at me, get back up to people talking about Zelda. There we go. Lee Meadows, Houston. What would happen if BBBY went to auction and one or more of the companies that are short on it win by paying stupid money for it just to bankrupt BBBY to save them from tens or hundreds of billions they would have to pay to close their shorts? They wouldn't have to pay that much money to close. It'd be more expensive for them to do a bid on the company than it would be to let somebody else bid and just close out their shorts that way. Because regardless, they'd have to spend the money for the company and then pay the payment and lose to buy out all the shares. So the shorts aren't going to do it. They're going to be like, gah. Brandon Edwards, what happens if there is no stalking horse bid? It just opens up to anyone until the 7th. There will be a stalking horse bid because when the court had them identify potential buyers or interested parties, the court then contacts those parties and negotiates who will be the stalking horse bidder. I'm not sure exactly how the selection process is, but they talk to somebody and they gauge how much they want the company and say, okay, you'll be the stalking horse bidder. And there's certain fees that come into purchasing company like this. And the stalking horse bidder, if they're the winning bidder, get those fees waived. So that's the benefit of being the first bidder. And so it can save them money in the long run. If they bid enough money, they eliminate anyone else joining the bidding. So you want to pick the right stalking horse bidder. And I don't know what the process is to pick that person. So there will be a stalking horse bidder. We just don't know who they are yet. Cat, you are totally in the way. Move it. There you go. Okay. JR, any luck finding a broker that will sell BBYQ? Well, I bought more BBYQ on Fidelity, but they wouldn't sell me any options. I tried and I tried and I tried and I tried. I would rather have had like 1,000 options than 3,000 plus shares, but you know, such is life. Justin Stewart, any thoughts on the dead internet theory? It's an online conspiracy theory that suggests that the internet now consists almost entirely of bot activity, etc. I'm sure a lot of it is. I'm sure some of you in here are robots. Cool. We're just going to have robots talking to robots. Just like we'll have our future wars will be robots fighting robots. And we're going to sit back and like sip our drinks while the robots fight each other and we yell at our robots. We'll have robots vacuuming our floors. We'll have robots writing our TV scripts and making, you know, movies with people with like 15 fingers. Welcome to the future. Also, did you guys read that a test scenario with an AI operated drone turned against its operator and tried to kill the operator? You guys read about that? I retweeted it. So, you know, Terminator's looking great. They're doing a great job. Skynet is almost fully online. Here we go. Board gamer Houston, I was looking the term that you had mentioned, thermal client testing. Is that something you coined or does that exist already? Was trying to learn more about it for my own company. Oh, are you talking about thermocline? Thermoclines. Thermoclines. So it's like the thermocline of trust. Thermo. Here. Boom. So thermoclines are, oops, wrong, not you. Go away Chrome. Oh, Chrome, go away Google Earth. There we go. Chrome. There we go. So thermocline of trust. So thermoclines are generally like in oceanic water, you've got from different latitudes, you've got different areas of temperature. So like closer to the equator, it might be close to 30 degrees Celsius. Up here near Seattle, it might be 10 degrees Celsius, the water. So you have these lines that you can map out in the oceans for thermoclines for temperatures. You also do thermoclines through the atmosphere. It's like down here, sea level, it's warm today. You go up to 70,000 feet, it's cold. So you can make thermocline lines represent that. So there's a thing known as the thermocline of trust. And companies, they have initial trust from their products, from their customer service, things like that. And there comes a moment when you break that thermocline of trust and people will never come back, right? So if you are what would be a good example we could use of a company that broke their thermocline of trust so badly they never bounce back? JCPenney is pretty close. I mean, they still exist-ish, but they really screwed over a whole bunch of people who are loyal customers and were like, I don't care about you. And people stopped buying the product. And so they've been bouncing in and out of bankruptcy for like 20 years as a result, as just a failed company. SVB broke the thermocline of trust. That bank failed because people no longer trusted them with their money, right? So once they break the thermocline of trust, it's really hard to bounce back and reclaim that position. So I would read about thermocline trust. It's pretty interesting. And Elon Musk has probably broken his thermocline of trust. When he allowed people to think of him as this, you know, kind of obscure, brilliant billionaire who did smart things and was a smart engineer and stuff, people were like, oh, and they just kind of let him do his thing. And when he started branching out into fields that he had no expertise or connections, people were like, wait, this guy isn't as smart as he says he was. And he's broken his thermocline of trust quite amazingly in the last 6 months. And people are not, in a large part, other than like those little cult followers that think he can do no wrong, the general public is like, I don't like that guy. And so he has now a negative perception, whereas before people were pretty indifferent or positive about him. And now his companies that are associated with him are suffering as a result. Like, you have all these hippies, rich hippies who want to buy Teslas. They want electric cars and not gas combustion cars. And now they don't want anything to do with Elon Musk. So like, they don't want to buy Teslas anymore. So you've alienated your clientele. So I think that's probably what you mean, the thermocline of trust. People talking about driving tests. Meow meow. Whose movies were crappies? Tim Thomerson or Rutger Hauer? What? Didn't Rutger Hauer pass away a little while ago? Like last year? Whose movies were crappies? Crappiest? Tom Thomerson, Rutger Hauer? I don't even know who's Tom Thomerson? Tom Thomerson. American actor. Transfers 2, Dullman, Transfers 4, Transfers 5, Dullman vs. Demonic Toys. I have Nemesis. I have not seen a single one of these movies. So I've never seen a single Tom Thomerson movie. I have seen Rutger Hauer movies. So, Iron Eagle? I've seen Iron Eagle. That might be the only one I've seen out of this list here. Show more. I've seen Volunteers, so that's 2. But that's the Tom Hanks vehicle, so he must have been Iron Eagle 2, Maelstrom, Rhinestone. Never saw Rhinestone. Blade Back, Cherry 2000. I've seen Cherry 2000. Would not be able to pick him out of a lineup. Who's Harry Crumb? I remember seeing that way back in the day. Air America, I saw that, but wouldn't really pick that guy. Okay, not. The Flash TV show is garbage. I watched one episode and was out. Near Dark, Brat Patrol, Evil Bong, Take the Job and Shove It, Air Marshal, Spitfire. Okay, so I've seen like 3 of the movies he's in, and he is not the star. So I'm gonna guess Tom Thomerson. Rutger Hauer. He passed away 2019. Okay. All right. Let's see. Let's compare. View all. Show more. Okay. Blade Runner. Boom. Done. Blind Fury. Seen that one. Hobo with a Shotgun. Seen that one. That one and the new one. Second Split. Nighthawks. Valerian. I've seen Valerian. Valerian was garbage. He was in Batman Begins. I don't remember that being in there. Okay. Want the Dead or Alive. Seen that. Buffy Vampire Slayer the movie. Seen it. Another Blade Runner cut. Seen Sin City. Mega Doom. Heineken. Never heard of those. Sisters Brothers. Good movie. Seen that one. Elfie Tower. Past Midnight. Admiral. What's that on? Blindside. Not seen that one. Poseidon Adventure. Seen that. So I'd say I've seen more movies Rutger Hauer in them, and I would recognize Rutger Hauer in those movies than of Tom Thomerson. So Tom Thomerson, more crappies. There. Crappier. More crappies. Meow meow. Crappies. Okay. Finally some baseball talk. Yeah. Baseball talk. Yes. What pitches did you guys throw? I mean, and I threw like the way I held the ball is different. Most people, they throw a fastball, their fingers are up close. I put my fingers out far, and it got me a little more snap on the ball, a little more backspin. So when I'd throw a fastball, I'd put my fingers more than like rocked in. And okay, we talked about the slider, right? Throw knob slider. You throw it, twist the hand as you throw it, and you get a side spin on it, and it cuts and dives down and away to a right-handed hitter. Curveball, through standard curveball, again, 4 seams. This time you throw your hand this way and you get the forward spin and the ball dives. So you get backspin on a fastball. You want a lot of backspin on a fastball, want a lot of rotation, and it keeps the ball high so that it dips not quite as much as the hitter would think. So you want this fastball to rise high. You do a split finger fastball or a tailing fastball. So you could do split finger on one side, tailing fastball generally. You might pick a side of the seems to be on, but I would generally do a tailing fastball. I would just kind of brace my fingers against the seams, and when you throw it, you have this channel that gets formed from these 2 seams here as it cuts through, and your hand never quite does the same angle each time, so that will cause the fastball to kind of snake as it heads towards the plate. So if you're a traditional pitcher, in your hard thrower, you might throw a really hard 4-seam fastball, keep the ball high up and in. Then you go with a split finger to tail in or out. And then you'd mix it all up with a changeup. And a changeup, you put the ball back in your hand and you kind of put a good grip on it. So when you throw it, you don't get the same wrist snap. So there's not quite as much backspin on the ball. And it just kind of dies. And the goal is to have about a 9 to 11 mile an hour difference between your fastball and your changeup. And the idea is when you throw it, the arm action looks exactly the same as a fastball. And the hitter's timing is thinking, 92 mile an hour fastball coming my way. And so they swing ahead of it. And the ball being about 10% slower arrives after the swing. And so they end up missing it. And also oftentimes can just die. Like Kitty, who am I thinking of? My brain's not thinking of change of pitchers at the moment. You can have screwballs. So curveball, you throw and it dives down. Slider, you throw sideways and it dives away to a right-handed hitter. Screwball, you throw and you twist your arm the other way. So screwball pitchers always had like weird shaped arms because their arm would eventually get deformed from how many times they throw. And this would cause the ball to dive in towards a right-handed hitter and away from a left-handed hitter. There's knuckle curves. You put your knuckle on the ball and you throw a curveball the same way. I don't know. I never bothered to throw a knuckle curve. Yeah, but my bread and butter was the knuckleball. And the traditional knuckleball is actually fingers, not your knuckles on the ball. It's fingers on the ball and stiff wrist. And when you throw, keep your wrist stiff, you sort of let go. And the ball dances because it has no spin on it whatsoever. So it's like a floater in volleyball. I learned I could put one knuckle down on the ball. And if one got too tired or early in the season, I didn't have calluses yet, I'd bleed a lot on the ball because the way it would let go. But I'd put one knuckle down, one finger down, and I'd throw it like a fastball, and I'd snap my wrist and flick my finger at the same time. So the snapping my wrist causes backspin, but flicking my finger forward causes front spin, and it cancels each other out. So I was able to throw the ball way harder with no spin, and it would dance a lot more. So very briefly, in the summer of 2001, I had the Major League Scouting Bureau record of the 78 mile an hour fastballs. 78 mile an hour knuckleball was the fastest knuckleball ever recorded. Since then, R.A. Dickey smashed that record. I think he threw one that was like 84 miles an hour or something. It was ridiculous how hard he threw it. But he was a traditional like power pitcher before his arm fell apart, and he learned the knuckleball. And when he came to Seattle, I loved the fact we found a knuckleballer in Seattle. I went to like every one of his games. And then the next year he was with the New York Mets and won the Cy Young. Just dominated. Oh my goodness! I wish more power pitchers would lean into the knuckleball, and they could kill it. There aren't enough knuckleballers in baseball anymore. Then there's the shuto, and I never really mastered the shuto, but from what I understand, is you throw it more like a football. So like you throw a football past your ear and you put a spiral on it, and so the shuto, you throw it more like a football and you put this side spin on it, so it acts kind of like a screwball. I might need someone who's Japanese who has mastered it to really truly show it to me. I watched a bunch of YouTube videos once, and it felt weird. It didn't look like I was pitching. It looked like I was trying to like throw for a 40-yard touchdown or something. But yeah, there you go. There's some baseball talk for you, Julio. All right. Where are we? 3:41. Got 20 minutes left, and I'm only an hour and 10 minutes behind. Yes. Crispy Chicken, is it true if your Tesla battery dies, is it better to buy a new one than replacing it? Like a new Tesla or a new battery? I think a new battery would cost you as much as a used Tesla would, which would already have a terrible battery. But I don't know. I haven't really looked into that at all. But I don't know. Imagine a lawnmower with katana for blades. Chris Taylor, I'm with Houston Invest. Appreciate you. Would you consider yourself more of a jock or a nerd? I'm way more of a nerd. I mean, I love sports. I love playing sports. I love playing sports at a high level. But like, I'd run into trouble because baseball coach tried to get me to like change majors. Like, why are you doing physics? Your physics labs are interfering with practice. And I was like, dude, I'm a pitcher. I throw 30 pitches and then I do a 2-mile run and I'm done for the day. Who gives a shit if I've got physics labs in the afternoon? I mean, in like playing baseball, it was interesting because like you would meet these guys and they're all, every single one of them was like business or psychology majors. Every last one of them. Business, psychology, business. And because the workload was easy and there weren't any like labs after school, and you'd ask them like, what do you want to do for a living? And they would say something completely unrelated to business or psychology. But you'd ask them like, why are you majoring in business psychology? Like, well, it's easier with my baseball schedule. So there aren't high level, like Division I schools do not foster enough nerds to be allowed to do their thing, right? Like, okay, you missed half of a practice on a Wednesday because you had a science lab. Oh no. Now you don't know how to play baseball anymore. It's completely left your brain. You'll never succeed at baseball ever again. It's silly. We had some really high level swimmers that came out of Bainbridge. One of them ended up getting a silver medal at the Olympics. Emily Silver, and her sister Helen Silver was a top 10 backstroker in the world. And both of them went off to Berkeley. Berkeley is one of the top swimming programs there is. And they're sisters, but they're completely mentally different. Like, one is a type A obsessive compulsive. The other is just really powerful, but she likes to party. And that's the older one. That was Helen. And at this time I was playing baseball D1 and I'd played D3 and community college and stuff. And I was talking to her and she was talking about, I'm going to go off to Cal. And it's like, don't. You don't have D1 mentality. Like, no matter what you do, you will qualify for the Olympics. You are good enough right now at 17 years old. You can make Olympic qualifications in the next time around, 2004 or whenever it would be. And I said, just don't go to Cal. They will work you to death and you're going to quit. You're going to hate it because you like to go to parties and you like to have a good time, but you don't mind swimming your 4,000 or 5,000 yards a day and calling it quits. But at Cal, you'll wake up at 4 a.m. You'll swim 3,000 yards. You go to school. You have a midday practice. You have to go to the gym at 3 o'clock and go work out. And then you'll swim another 5,000 yards from 6 o'clock until 8 o'clock at night. And then finally have a chance to do your homework and you're going to go to sleep and you're going to die. And your times aren't going to be any better than they would be if you went to a Division III school, right? You went to some little school, Whitworth or Whitman or Chapman University or something. They would name the pool after you. You would swim your 4,000 yards a day, get Olympic qualifying, set NCAA records, and they would name the pool after you, and you wouldn't be any better or worse than you would be at D1. You'd be just as good, because it's an individual sport, as you would have been had you like worked your ass off at D1, and you would have the same results. Meanwhile, her sister, who was a total type A and was like, I want to swim all the time, and didn't really care about doing anything else, she went to Berkeley, crushed it, went to the '08 Olympics she was alternate for the '08 Olympics at, what was she, 19 at the time? And she went and won a silver medal in the 4x50 relay. And, you know, she also, too, got burnt out in swimming and never went back to another Olympics. But, like, their mentalities are completely different. So, you know, you gotta kind of, like, I don't know. If I were to be an athlete coach for students looking at playing at different schools, I would first say, what's the geography? Where do you want to live? Right? Because, like, are you okay with being at Wichita State and being in Kansas all winter? Ew. Right? Like, I got baseball scholarship offers to go to Wichita State. I am not going to live in Kansas. I have no desire to live in Kansas. To me, Kansas is a place you may visit here and there, but having to live through a Kansas winter, no thank you. Right? I need a coast. Put me in a coast somewhere where I need ocean, I need mountains, and I'll keep my sanity. Number 2, right? What type of competition are you going to play? Are you going to be the stud in that team and get to play all the time? Well, that might get you more attention from scouts than being an alternate on Division II or Division I team. All right, so if you're a stud on a mediocre Division III baseball team, you're not in scholarship, but you're dominating, and you're getting tons of playing time, scouts still will go to Division III schools and they draft people. Scott Brocious came from Linfield, and he became, you know, World Series MVP, right? So they do have the ability to get drafted out of the schools. When I was at Lewis and Clark, there's this dude Scott Hyde at George, the Quaker school, kitty cat, George Fox University. And dude's throwing 95, 96 miles an hour. He took them to the College World Series, and they won the College World Series that year. And he got drafted by the Yankees, right? I don't think he ever made it to the major leagues, but, you know, he went through a pretty high level of minor league baseball. So, like, is it good to go to a Division I school where you're just never going to be able to show your talents necessarily? Because you got 35 people on the team. You might play here and there, but if it's a serious D1 school, unless you are a freak of nature, right, you may not get the playing time you need. My catcher from high school is a freak of nature. He went to Rice University, walked on to their team. He went to the tryouts, like, hey, I'll try out. And the coach was like, who the hell are you? Where'd you come from? You're our starting catcher. And he wanted to have like a 380 batting average through college, caught what might be the single greatest pitching staff in college baseball history. I think all 5 starters went on to play the major leagues. And they won the College World Series in 2003, where he got the game-winning hit off of Houston Street, who became an all-star closer at the major league level. He's a freak of nature, though. He just calm, cool confidence, and was just an athletic freak that I am not. I am more. I've got to think these things through because I don't necessarily have the physical attributes that people go, whoa, where'd you come from? But yeah, I'm more nerd than jock, and I was a weirdo. Every team I ever played on, they were like, that guy's weird. The pitchers didn't know what to do with me. The hitters didn't know what to do with me. Everyone thought I was just weird. Anyway, enough of that. Quiet Quest. All MMTLP resolution possibilities 2023 or 2024. I would hope next week, but hope springs eternal on that one. I still think the best way forward is to get an order from a court that says, you have to do this, you messed up. Obviously, Hinkle in Florida is not curious enough as a lawyer or a judge to be like, this is interesting. He took the easy way out. And it is so evident that he didn't read Rosa's filings. He just didn't read it. And his own ruling contradicted himself. He talked about how in the one case he cited, FINRA was immune because of they're seeking monetary damages. But then he's like, they weren't specifically saying that they're immune to just monetary damages. But that's the reason why they had the immunity. because that's what the law says. The law says immune to monetary damages. So that's why they had that one case thrown out. And Hinkle didn't seem curious at all to read that stuff. And my guess is it was his clerk who was just like, ugh, let's get rid of this crap. And that's where they went from there. If it's not going to be the court who does it, it's going to have to be Congress. And the Congress is either going to force the SEC to do something, or the Congress is going to pass a law specific to short sellers. And that takes time. So I was really hoping that Hinkle would be the one to be curious enough to read all this stuff and go, oh, this is interesting. But he's lazy judge. Really? Just gonna yell at me? Is that what you're gonna do? What do you want, cat? Lee Meadows, they did say in the hearing yesterday they may need a few more days for the stalking horse bid. Cat, what do you want? Why are you yelling at me? You literally put yourself in someone else's shoes whenever you bowl. The key to empathy. Okay. Anthony Fontera, now that GME has a blockchain platform, in light of the FINRA crap pulled on MMTLP, what happens if GME pulled their shares, put them on their own blockchain? It would be a beautiful, beautiful squeeze is what it would be. And it's something we've been talking about for 2 years now. When they first announced they were doing the blockchain stuff in March, April 2021, all of us were like, hoping that they would create a system that could handle the trading of securities, of like stock securities on a blockchain. It'd be amazing, and I'd want it so bad. Chris Taylor Houston, I'm glad to see no Yanni pickup. You notice that our Sears sub was made private. Any good news on Sears? No news on Sears as of now. I've not heard anything. If I do, I will tell you. If anyone has news, send it my way, because I don't necessarily keep my ears to the rails on that one. Cat. Oh, you want to go outside? Okay, leave the room. Get out of here. Go. Go away. All right, got to Peru Invest, getting angry at me. Your shirt looks like pond water under a microscope. Thank you, Blair. I dig it. Okay. If you're on AMC, they should have allowed student loans to remain in the bankruptcy laws. That too. A lot of people discharge them. They're like, hey, I can't pay them. Bye-bye. But that was thanks to Biden. Biden's bill removed the ability to discharge student loans in bankruptcy. So we have him to thank for that. So he owes us. Jason, where do you think that money comes from? These so free they want to give away. The same place the PPP loans come from, and the $1 trillion defense budget, and the tax breaks for billionaires. Those same places. Benedict, I went the most efficient way I knew how. Did 2 years free at community college via Pell Grants, and then went to state school for STEM degree for half the price because it said grants, $13,000 at the end. Yeah, I mean, that's a great way to do it, and I highly recommend people. The best colleges I went to, the best teachers I had were at community college, and I teach at community college now. I highly recommend it. But you know, some people get into schools that they don't have to prove themselves. Like, you get into a college, you get into a great college, you don't need to go to community college. Community college is basically for folks who didn't get into another school or can't quite do through work schedules or children or whatever, can't necessarily do the regular college experience. And the regular college experience, I think, is a really important part of society. It is oftentimes the first time these folks have been away from their families. They're living on their own. They're learning to socialize as adults. They're learning how to navigate having a budget and feeding themselves and doing things they weren't able to do before. And I think it plays an important role in sort of transcending adolescence, because we have in the modern society, we have a very long adolescent period. You go back in time and people, the whole reason bar mitzvahs and bat mitzvahs happened to age 13 was because, well, you're an adult now, time to do adult things. There's all sorts of rituals of becoming an adult that happen in the early teens. Because eventually, back then, you learned everything you need to learn. You've read the books, you've done the work, there's everything they've taught you they could teach you in 10 short years, and you're now an adult, right? But now, with specialization and such a gigantic amount of information people have to master to become competent in anything, our adolescence period extends for a much longer length of time. And we, at 18 years old, are still malformed human beings and not ready for adulthood because there's still specializations that we've got to go into, right? If you're going to be part of the trained workforce, whether it is as a college-educated person or as somebody who goes into an apprenticeship or trade school, like there's a lot more information you got to digest before you can navigate your career, before you can navigate society. So yeah, community college is awesome. They're fantastic, and they help the people who are outliers to the normal 4-year college experience. But we shouldn't make it so it's the only way people can afford school. Public colleges and universities take our tax dollars day in, day out. Our research comes from these things. The ability to produce high quality experts in fields don't come from community colleges. They come from the 4-year schools where people go into specializations. And that's where the best people at those specializations generally are. And we need to make the best system we can for everybody involved, because it improves our nation and improves the individual. So that's where we need to go there. I'm too saucy. Why is Talking Horse late? Not a clue. It's meant to. I'm too saucy. Student loans are meant to limit your human potential and keep you in debt. Yep. Yeah. Snowboard, oh nice, time for a rant. JJ, what time is the bid supposed to be revealed? I don't know. Someone just said that in the hearing yesterday, the stalking horse bid may take a couple days longer, which, yeah. JJ, this liberal cuck. JJ, I am sure that any woman in your life would gladly be with me over you. Let's put it that way, my man. Okay. Kevin Phillips, I'm sorry, mister, but is there a live update on your headline of Stalking Horse? No updates yet. We're waiting for word on it. I don't know if it actually came in at 5 or if it's late, as people have suggested. Scott Breitbarth, good luck with bad breath and beyond. Scott. Come pick up your shit. Actually, Scott got most of his shit. He did leave behind a whole bunch of stuff he didn't wanted, which I don't want it. It's not mine. Horsey is sneak. Oh yeah, the orca attacks. Yeah, the orcas are learning to attack capsize small boats, and they're like, they don't know if it's because they're angry and they're capsizing the boats in retaliation, or if it's a fad, because orcas do like to do fads. They here in Puget Sound, they were wearing dead fish on their heads as like hats. They had fashion for a while, so all the lady orcas had like a dead fish on their head, and they would swim around with the dead fish on their head. Like, look at my dead fish; it's better than your dead fish. And so orcas are subject to fads. They do like them. So it might be a current fad of, hey, let's capsize some boats. This is hilarious, and they get bored with it eventually. Or it could be like, we've declared war on human beings, and we're going to take over the world. No boat is safe. True Invest, YouTuber don't have a real job. Just be honest, because they just can't do. Then why are you here? Like, if I'm here talking about whatever you guys want me to talk about, and you're here to listen about it, then does that mean you have even less of a job? I don't know. What's that mean for you? That you're spending your time listening here, my man. Quiet quest for the MMTOP resolutions that are possible. Court order, congressional order, SEC order, or nothing happens at all. Those are their 4 options. Court order is getting tricky because Judge Hinkle sucks. Congressional order is getting tricky because when they were supposed to be doing these meetings about this stuff, they've had to do debt ceiling talks and votes, so I don't think any of them are paying attention right now. SEC order is tricky because the SEC seems to suck. And the doing nothing, that seems to be the most popular one because it allows them to do nothing. So that's why we got to be annoying and make doing nothing the worst decision they could possibly make. So keep it up. Keep it up. Okay. Okay. Oh, and there's the reset of the chat. Okay. Here's AMC. My 13-year-old cat Compost just got diagnosed suddenly with type 1 diabetes. They have a new pill instead of insulin. It's like wrestling an alligator every morning now. The one time I tried pilling Chalupa Batman, I got this scar on my arm that has to this day not going away. So I just crushed up like a drug dealer to sprinkle on his food because I cannot do that. I tried the pill popper thing. It would go in, he'd be like, wah, and just puke it right back out again. So it'd be back to square one. And man, Jimmy D, this show makes my 4-stroke, my Honda engine makes me 4-stroke. Oh, Jimmy D, I love you. All right. Sweet Lou, robots are next slaves, is roboticipation for Proclamation Judgment Day. I, for one, salute our new robot overlords. I should look into the company makes kitty diabetes pills, but they're doing pretty well. Cosman, any news on the Stalking Horse bid? Nope, we're waiting. We got no news yet. We're waiting. I know some folks jump in here hoping there's news. We've heard nothing. Taking their sweet time, that's for sure. And on C-SPAN, got to get back to work because I can't afford the astronomical but predictable newer Florida manual labor costs of lawn service. Just want to take a little break to say I'm very appreciative of you never never failing articulation on the logical explanation of the benefits and other moral and good policies. I enjoyed you tearing up that dude earlier. Thank you. Is Peru still here? Did he run away finally? Kinky sex. Do you suck dick, Houston? Are you Peter Puffer? You look like a power bottom. I don't have enough bottom to be a power bottom. But, you know, whatever. Yeah. Kinky coming hot tonight. Houston, can you explain the stock split and way one only? I explained extensively. I still don't quite. Honestly, all I know is that you get extra shares. You get a full value of a full share from the previous value of 1-to-20 ratio in short. So basically, you get a free share. So you get 21 shares in that case. Like, hey, free is free. Okay, I can go a little long. We're almost caught up on the chat here, so might as well get caught up. Oh, Batman Begins, Rucker Howard's Rain Court Batty. That's right. Thank you, Kinky Kyle. That's right. Oh, Kansas sucks. Firm's AMC isn't physics basically baseball practice anyway? Yeah. I mean, that's physics 101. It's all Newtonian, man. Peachy Sunday, Houston, you're welcome to the Batik. Thanks for doxing me, said Biss. Oh, sorry, Peachy Sunday. You should have put Peachy Sunday on there. I would have said Peachy Sunday. But that was a great shirt. Thank you. Kevin Rannon, Scott Brocious, my high school field is named after him. Where'd Scott Brocious go to high school? He might still be the coach at Linfield. When I was at Lewis and Clark, he was assistant coach, and then the next year became head coach, and then Linfield won the Division III College World Series with him. Scott Brocious, American baseball athlete. Let's see here. Scott Brocious, Hillsboro, Oregon. He's 56 now? Holy smokes. Career coaching legacy. Oregon Sports Hall of Fame in 05. 07, 2015, took part in the New York Yankees Old Timers Day festivities. November threw out the first pitch. Oh, he became a hitting coach for the Mariners? AAA affiliate commissioner. So he's not Linfield anymore. So 2002-2007, Brocious was assistant coach at Linfield under head coach Scott Carnan. Brocious coach when he played for the school. They switched roles 2008 season. Brocious was named head coach, and Carnan, who is athletic director, became assistant coach. Brocious earned his degree from Linfield 02. So he finally got his degree from them. Named Northwest Conference coach 5 times. 08, 2010, 2011, 2013, 2014, 8 seasons as head coach. He led the team to NCAA National Championship Tournament 4 times. The Wildcats finished 3rd in 2010. 2013 won Linfield's first NCAA National Baseball Championship and 2nd National Championship after the 1971 NAIA victory. Trying for a third rare repeat 2013. They were eliminated in 2 straight games. Whereas win-loss record 8 years Linfield was 270 and 96. That's pretty darn good. They kicked the shit out of us, that's for sure. Lewis Clark was not very good. So 15 became Mariners hitting coach, assistant coach, Salem Mariners 2017 season. He was named third base coach 2018. How come I didn't know this? 2018, he was third base coach for the Mariners. He was U.S. National Baseball Team coach. He's promoted to manager when Joe Girardi declined the position. The team finished 4th in the tournament and failed to qualify the 2020 Olympics initial rounds. Oops. Huh. Where is he now? I have no idea where he is now. But hey, Oregon boy, Hillsboro. We're people ragging on Kansas. Chris Taylor, judge asked if BBYQ was delaying because they didn't have a stalking horse yet. I thought the court is supposed to decide on the stalking horse. If you're AMC, people are just going to not pay those student loans and default food higher priority than student loans. Yep. Guitar Stuff Houston, what do you look for in a war rig? Something that can be badassified. Simple as that. Like, you generally want decent gas mileage. And if you want decent gas mileage, you got to buy something new. But then something new is so expensive, you're going to destroy it anyway. So you got to find that nice sweet spot between, getting okay gas mileage and not being too expensive a vehicle. So the Montero is great because I get 15 to 18 on the highway. And I can badassify it pretty well. And if I destroyed it, well, they aren't too expensive. That was before all the supply chain crap. Because, like, I bought my 03 Montero for $3,000. And now 03 Monteros are like $8,000. And so I just haven't gotten one. Just waiting and waiting and waiting for prices to come down or something. I mean, the car's 5 years older now. Why is it $5,000 more? All it's done is gotten more miles and more problems. Brad B. Houston, happy birthday. What are your thoughts on Bill Gates? Any truth to the medical conspiracy theories involving him? I think Bill Gates has more issues with falling for honeypot spies than having to worry about weird medical conspiracies and things like that. A lot of the people who want to attribute medical conspiracies to Bill Gates are like, they're creating the vaccines so they can kill us. And it's like, if they want to kill you, they just let the novel virus run through the population. You don't try to save people. You just let the disease take its course, and then there, easy. Didn't have to spend any money doing it. So I think the conspiracies go a little outside the bounds of what tracks logically for me. Jimmy D. I cannot tell if people making these nut job racist comments are trolling or that may dumb fuck people. It's both, probably. People talking about Nikola CEO going to prison. Mighty Mouse, did you hear about James Angel being the director of the FINRA Institute at Georgetown? Alley of Trading Secrets tweeted. Oh, James Angel is a total poser. The cat wants back in. Dude, make up your mind. So don't trust anything that Professor James Angel says. He is the creator of payment for order flow. He's the creator of dark pools. So the two largest problems we have in stock trading today are his doing. So he's going to do whatever he can to maintain that as status quo and to screw over everybody else. Ow, your claws are so sharp, you stinky cat. Cattail karaoke! Okay. Beach Sunday. Seems like inflation in general and not enough used car in the market. I sold my Prius C for more than what I paid for it 3 years ago. That's exactly what's happening, man. Yeah. Guitar Stuff. Houston, how many claims do you have? Like mineral claims? Okay. 1 through 4. 5, 6, 7, 8. 9, 10, 11, cat, you're not gonna crap around. All right, 11, well, I have 12 right now. I have 12 mineral claims. At one time I had 26, but then I went through a bunch and realized that cat, quit it. Quit it. Cat. And realized that they weren't worth it because it's $155 a year per claim. to maintain, and that just gets expensive. And so if you aren't using the land for anything and you don't have any prospective investment in it, then quit it. Then I can always claim it later if someone else doesn't poach it first. So, okay. I'm at the end of my run. We did 2 hours, 16 minutes. Not too shabby. No word on the stalking horse at all. Waiting. We're still waiting to hear back on that. But hey, we hung out for a while. We had a good rant in. We talked baseball. Woo! So let's do it again tomorrow. Maybe we'll have some news tomorrow. I don't know. Until then, take care of yourselves and each other, and catch you on the flip side. Let's remember the outro this time. I forgot the outro last time, so shaboom.